a neighborhood in Los Angeles for a little short time, and then we're going to spend quite a bit of time on Mother Mother, and the composer of that piece is going to be with us. I expect her any minute. So she's gonna be with us, and she'll stay through the break. So I'm hoping that in addition to hearing a little bit from her about how she came to write the piece, besides that we commissioned her to do it, but like what her thoughts were going into it. And then we'll sing it for her, we'll work on it a little bit, but I'm also hoping that there'll be some opportunity for you all to ask questions or, just, make any comments or kind of just ask her any questions that you might be wondering about or thinking about. Or just, it doesn't have to be about the piece, it could be about what it's like to be a composer. I know Rebecca's really wants to ask, what is it like to be a composer?
Just to meet her.
Anyway, so, and then after the break, we're only going to work on 2 pieces. I think if we do really well in those 2, we might, I might sneak in something that was not on the list for our rehearsal, which is the piece that the composer is coming next week, which is Without His Mother. So we might get to that. I have a feeling with all the other things that we have to do, we may not. So that's why I didn't put it on the plan. So that's what to expect. Hi. There she is. Well, I'll introduce her when we let her sneak in. So for now, we're going to warm up. So everybody up. And we're going to quickly remind ourselves some of the concepts that we've been talking about for the past number of weeks. That's so exciting. I was like, wait a minute. Something's different here. So we're going to quickly remind ourselves about some of the basics that we've been talking about. And the first of those is kind of making that space in our body. Quickly checking our posture, right? And I'm not even going to remind you because you already know what you need to check there, right? Where your feet, knees, hips. And then we're gonna just open up this space in our torso with some good shoulder rolls. I knew I was going to ditch this almost immediately. I was thinking I'm not going to do that, within minutes.
It's hot in here.
Really making big circles with your shoulders. And then you can go the other way. All right. So we remember that when we are starting to feel in rehearsal that we're kind of, our space is compacting and can be getting constricted, what do? We do just that quick little reset that opens up that space, gives us more space to breathe. So another concept we've been working with is our breath. So let's take a short inhalation on 2 counts through your nose, and then you're just gonna take a long exhalation. We'll just go to run out of air. Okay? Breathing 1, 2, and exhale. Right. So stop right there. So we're not going to make any sound when we do that. We're just letting the air go out naturally. All right? Breathing 1, 2, and exhale. It should just be natural. You do this all day long. You breathe, right? And let the rest of it go. Now this time we're going to just do a little differently. Same inhalation on 2 counts. Very nice deep inhalation. And then we're just going to do 4 SHs, okay? Breathing in and oh, that was 5, wasn't it? I can count. All right. Then let's add some pitch to that. Let's take a G above middle C. And we're just going to do 5 of them, I guess. Ready? Breathing 1, 2. Good. I saw a lot of people immediately do this to kind of like remind yourself and feel what that feels like. So let's all do that. Just lightly placing your hand just below your rib cage and feel that you'll feel that expansion as you breathe in quickly, like, right? And then you're going to feel that muscle engaging on each of those. So here we go again. Ready? And bright vowels versus tall vowels or open vowels. So let's just kind of give ourselves a little bit of a reminder of that. And if you can, C major. We're going to go from bright to open and then back to bright, or not bright, but maybe closed. So we're going to go from nu, no, na, and then we'll come back down. So we do, can play that again. So we do nu, no, na, no, nu. So we're going up to the tall vowel and then back down to the more closed. All right? Ready, and nu, no, na, no, nu. And breath. Nu, no, na, no, nu. And breath. Nu, no, na, no, nu. 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 So really make, as we get higher, we're making that nice and open. One more. All right, those are good. Let's come to let's do F major, and we're gonna do but before we do, forgot to say why we're doing this. So the next couple of weeks we're going to be, as we've kind of worked through these different areas of sort of vocal technique, the next couple of weeks are kind of the capstone of what we've been talking about, and that is intonation, right? And if you've not heard that word before, it's basically tuning, right? Staying in tune when we sing. So intonation is what that is. So we're going to be looking at some bugaboos with intonation and some things that we can try to do to help that. And then we'll at the final thing we'll do some more with listening. And that's also part of the mixing around that we started doing, is to try to get us to listen and to kind of tune in a different way than we're used to when we're in our own section. So if we can play that F major again. So we're going to do and one of the reasons we're doing this is because one of the bugaboos with intonation can be a descending line, right? So I want us to think about this as we're singing this on ma ma ma, just thinking about listening and listening for the tuning on that, and then we'll play with it a little bit. And and I saw some people already doing this and doing this with your hand, right? So one of the things that we can do when we have a descending line is kind of trick ourselves into thinking it's not descending, it's ascending, right? We don't have as much intonation challenge when there's a line that's going up because we're already thinking up. But when we're going down in a line, we kind of lose the energy. So now we're going to do what Erin and Rebecca were already doing, and we're going to, as we sing that ma ma ma, we're going to just gently raise our hand going up as the notes are going down. So right there, and ma ma ma, breath, ma ma ma, breath, ma ma. Great. So that's already helping. Now the other thing that can help a descending line, and we've already talked about this when we talked about vowels, is, especially now we're getting lower in our range, is to have not such an open vowel that tends to go back in the back of our heads. So we're going to change our vowel to moo moo moo, and we're going to keep doing this with our hand. And moo moo moo, breath. Moo moo moo. Hear how much better that tunes itself? Last one. So obviously we can't change the text. If we have a text that has open vowels. We can't change that, but we've learned in our last kind of couple of warm-up sessions that, yeah, we might not be able to completely change the vowel, but we can shape vowels in one direction or other. We can shape brighter vowels, we can make them more open if it's up high. We can take open vowels and make them brighter if it's down low. So it's a combination of thinking up as we go down and brightening the vowel. All right, let's just do a couple more things just to get the voice going, and also thinking about bright vowels and less bright vowels. And let's go back to C major. I love to sing. And you'll do it better than I did. I love to sing. I love to sing. Breath. I love to sing. So how are we using brighter vowels and more open vowels in that exercise, and how does that help us or hinder us? Anyone?
The love is the open.
The love, yeah, and it's on the top, right? And what about as we come back down? To sing, right? It brings it back brighter, so that helps us as we come down that descending line. All right, let's keep going. Now that we just one at a time go. Oh yeah. Ready and. I love to sing. 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 Sopranos. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. One more. I love to sing. Yeah, that's a better sound than we were making a few weeks ago when we were up in that range. So whatever we're doing, whatever you're opening up, that's helping. It's helping the sound. Keep thinking about that. It's one thing to do that when we're just singing, I love to sing, but when we're in the middle of repertoire, it's harder to find that, right? But we wanna try to do that. We wanna try to find those open vowels. All right, great. So we are going to take a look at Roger Borland. And I'm just going to remind you, because somebody asked me about this before rehearsal, just a reminder that you needn't carry around those two thick packets of music of the two sets of Borland pieces, because we're only doing a few things in that. Instead, I highly recommend that you go to the study page, you find the PDF that I created for you that only has the three that we are doing, and then you don't need to carry all those two thick things around. Okay? So we're going to look at In a Neighborhood in Los Angeles, and of course, because I don't have them in the packets, I can't tell you which one it's in. You still have the packets. It's in the first one? Book one, which doesn't say book one because there wasn't a book two at the time you wrote it. Just doesn't say book two. All right, let's see how much you remember of this. My hope is that we can review, polish a little bit, and start to pull away our reliance on the piano. We're about halfway through our rehearsal period, just slightly more than halfway through. So we really are in the stage now for our a cappella things. We really need to stop kind of relying on that piano quite so much. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I learned Spanish from my grandma, from my grandma, from my grandma. I learned Spanish from my grandma, from my grandma, from my grandma. happens at 67. I'm slowing the tempo just there at that 7/8 bar, so watch there. And then the other place where it's quite a bit slower is the previous page on My Grandma Wore Moons. That's pick up to the double bar where you have 10/8 time. So it's slow for just those two measures, and then it picks up again. Mexico's Mountains picks back up to the tempo. Let's do that little section starting from My Grandma Wore Moons on Her Dress. Yes, but it still have to count it. Moons on her dress. Okay, let's do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, it's always a little tricky to get going again there after that in her eyes there. So you really got to keep that eighth note going. I think I've pointed this out before, but at the beginning of the piece, our pattern is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and that happens all the way up until mint leaves, right? But here it switches to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So it kind of shifts a little. It's the same number of eighth notes, but they're grouped a little differently. So you got to be ready for that. So you have Mexico's mountains, deserts, ocean, in her eyes, 1, 2, 3, 1, I'd see, or whatever it is. Yeah, see, right? Okay, let's just speak that at Mexico's mountains. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Mexico's mountains, deserts, oceans, in her eyes.
1, 2, 3, 1.
I see them in her
1,
eyes.
2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1.
I see them in her
1, 2, 3, 1.
I touch
Yeah,
them
and same
in
thing
her
there. I'd see them in her what is it? Braids, sorry. I'd see them in her braids. I'd touch. It's not as much time as you think. That comes in quicker. All right, let's go back with pitch. All the way back to My Grandma Wore Moons. And, sorry, let me give you something better than that. 2 and 3.
My grandma wore moons on her dress, moons on her dress.
Don't hang on to that moons on her. Yeah, don't hang on to that too long. Almost. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
My grandma wore moons on her dress, moons on her dress. Mexico's mountains, deserts, oceans, in her
1,
eyes.
2, 3, 1.
I see them in her eyes.
1, 2, 3.
I see them in her braids. I touch them in her voice.
Yeah, so this is a little bit awkward in some ways, but intentionally so. So we have these mezzo forte, mezzo piano, and then kind of a loud and then back, loud again. And especially for the first sopranos, you have a big jump to make there. So first of all, you need to really know exactly where that pitch is. That's work that you probably need to do on your own or in sectional to really know that. Some of you have sung this piece before a number of times, so yeah. But we need to prepare for that higher note sooner in order to get there. Good. Let's go right at top of that page. I'd see them in her braids. So this is right. Pick up to what is it? It's 51, I think. 1, 2, 3, 1.
I see them in her braids. I touch them in her voice.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Shh. Yeah. So then that one too. 1, 2, 3. I was told she went. Keep that eighth note ticker going there. Right at one day, I have a marking there that's slower, but I'm not doing that. So if you have that from a previous time, you can cross it out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2.
far away.
good example of we're down low, what's the vowel of that we have here? Is it ma, right? It's mostly ah, right? But it's low, so we might need to make that a little brighter, so that so that it doesn't kind of sag below. All right? So just think about that. Here we go. And
Whispering in my Mijito.
yeah, so that's forte.
Yep.
And
Mijito.
yeah, but not shouting. Right? And
Mijito. Mijito.
good, much better. Yes, we get that. All right, let's go back. And Allison, my challenge to you is to not help them except if they're really struggling. Maybe a fresh pitch at the beginning of certain sections, but mostly, let's see if you can do it on your own. Let's stand, why don't we? I'll always give you a full measure for this so you can see where that 5 is. Hold on. That's it, right?
I learned Spanish from my grandma, from my grandma, from my grandma. I learned Spanish from my grandma, from my grandma, from my grandma. Mi hijito, mi hijito, don't cry. On the mornings, my parents would leave to work at the fish canneries. My grandma would check the chairs, singing them old songs, dance waltzes with them, singing them old songs, dance waltzes with them in the kitchen. When she said, "Yo niño maricón," she'd laugh, "Niño maricón." With my grandma, I learned to count clouds, to point out in flower pots, mint leaves. My grandma wore moons on her dress, Mexico's mountains, deserts, oceans in her eyes.
1, 2, 3, 1.
I see them in her eyes.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
I see them in her braids. I touch them in her voice. Smell them. One day I was told she went far away.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
But still I feel her with me, whispering in my ear. Mijito, mijito, mijito.
Good. Yeah, there's we're not going to take the time to do this now, but especially altos, check your rhythms from measure 5 to measure 12. And sopranos, check your rhythm when you come in at 17. And also at 21, we want to make sure we hear that play between the alto and soprano. That means both parts in those places have to be very confident of your rhythms. All right, but the pitch stayed pretty well, and we only needed a few little helpers, and we didn't sink down, so that's good.
Helping you with those, I was just getting this.
All right, just checking. next, it's my pleasure. I'd like to introduce you to the composer of Mother, Mother, which we've been working on. Lingbo Ma. Lingbo is from China originally, and she is a graduate of Juilliard, and she's now, are you still working on your doctorate at NEC, or did you finish that? Yes. Yeah, okay, cool. I wasn't sure if your website was like, yeah, so she's at New England Conservatory studying composition. Her compositions have been performed throughout the world, really, and we're really excited to have commissioned her to write one of the three pieces that are themed around Mother. So, Lingbo, why don't you come on up and maybe talk a little bit about the piece? And you wrote the text, right? Am I right? Yeah. So people were kind of curious about that, and just just a little bit about your process and all of that.
Sure. Hello, everyone.
Come on.
Yeah, the text is just a collection of thoughts on mother. It's very personal, like what I'm not a mother yet, but to me it's just what mother stands for and why it matters. And I have, since Ali asked, I think the third or the fourth stanza dedicated to mothers unseen, unheard. And I set that as, it's more like a recit when it gets to that stanza. And the music, the piece, it starts with the echo. I'm sure you all did that already. But it's like an echo of Mother, Mother at the beginning, and then it's almost like a dance or a lullaby style, the beginning of the piece. And then the climax is at the very end, where you repeat the text several times. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that that you kind of it really has a pretty distinct structure. I mean, you can have like double bars in there and stuff. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how you thought of the different sections and sort of what the progression of the piece for you was,
Yeah.
and maybe even some of the compositional techniques or things that you use to kind of heighten the text.
Sure. Well, this was written a couple months ago, so I'm. Oh yeah, yes. So we start with unison, and then the second stanza of the poem. I think I had the altos sing the melody that was introduced at the beginning, and then the sopranos sing a counter melody. So the melody is heard again, but this time in the alto, and this time with a counter melody. And then, like I said, there's the more intimate recit passage that starts in measure 40, or 39, or pick up to 39. And that leads to
So for you, this slower section here, you're thinking of that almost like a recitative,
right.
and that's why that's why you said it, so that each voice kind of has a moment to.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Almost like it's one voice, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a more intimate moment there, and then everybody just joins back in for the final climax.
I have to say, I mean, when you first sent me the piece, and I really love where the piece ends up, like this blessing almost, like today may the name Mother find you in kindness. I love that. I love how you kind of took those ideas and kind of brought it into almost like a wish for the listener. What was like? Can you say more about that?
Yeah, I think when I wrote it, I first came up with the echoes at the beginning and then the very last stanza. So the climax
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And yeah, the outro, the piano intro and outro, I tried to make an echo of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get to be in the choir too, Allison. And you're a pianist yourself too, so
Yes,
I know, I think the piano accompaniment is very pianistic and very, I mean, Allison's nodding her head, so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just sent you a different version with a different layout.
Oh, okay.
Because I realized I was just looking through the score before I got here. There were some awkward page turns, so I resized the staff to make it smaller, so there are fewer pages, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
easier for you to.
All right, well.
If you still want to
Yeah,
change.
I'll put that on the study page, so if you want a different version of it. I also wanted to let you know that we did do a little bit of revoicing in one play. So we opted, we kind of have different configurations that we tend to sing, and so we can sing up to, our typical top amount of parts is 4, so we do S, S, A, A, right?
Yeah.
But we also frequently have pieces that divide more easily into high, middle, and low.
Sure.
As opposed to that. So this is a piece that we opted to divide high, middle, and low rather than soprano 1 and then all the altos.
Okay.
As you can see, we have a big alto section, and I wanted to put a little,
Sure.
that. But what we found, and this is just information for you, or whatever, you can take whatever you want. So since that middle part is a combination of sopranos and altos, we found that this section here gets a little too high for them. So what I did was I gave the folks who were altos who were singing that, for whom that's too high, I gave them the option to drop down here,
Yeah.
and then they stay with the low part, and then they go back, I forget where, right here. So when they get to here, once that part is not so high, then they come back there. So you might hear that as we sing it for you.
Okay. So the
little
high
shifting.
voice divides here.
Yeah, I actually had them, just because it was a little bit less awkward to have them come down here. The folks who are singing this middle part,
They go down.
they jump down there, and then, like most
Yeah,
of just
sure.
my altos stay down there. So you might hear that. Shall we sing it for you? All right, you guys. Let's do it. Okay. So be listening, tempo, if you have ideas about tempo, faster, slower, other kinds of things, breath marks, anything like that you want to share with us. We're eager for it, right? just the top part, no middle. And now we'll add the middle. So middles and high part, you've got to know exactly what that interval is from the D that the low part sings, right? That's the way to find it. Yeah.
I just had something that helped me. I
Okay.
don't know if it's going to help anybody else. If you think of it like mi, re, do. Mi is mother, re is the soprano. Re, do. So we can hear the re being down to the do and the.
Yeah, I mean, if you think maybe a different way of saying that is to think the octave of what the altos are doing, then just come down from that. Is that what you're talking about?
Essentially,
Yeah, yeah.
if that helps
Yeah.
anybody.
But then you have the dissonance with the middle part that you have to kind of almost kind of block out a little bit. All right, let's and just a reminder for the high part, those M's, and in fact, any place in this piece where you have a hum, it should be on an N, not an M. The M just does not cut through. So, all right, let's go back and do a few little fixing before I ask for your. All right, let's go back to the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
So, here's sort of like the end. We need to the middle part and the low part. You're going to get your pitch from the top part, and top part. Your part is right there on the piano, even in the same octave, right? So all you. Don't worry about that for right now. Don't worry I just want the right pitch at the right time, and we'll work on the dynamic. And if it's okay with you, we might modify that a little bit. That's super hard to sing that F sharp piano. So anyway, all right, let's go right from measure 9. And actually, before we do that, Allison, would you just play the F sharp for the high part, and then the E, and then the lower E. So everybody should have actually not too much of a problem finding that pitch, right? Low part, you just listen for the middle part and you go down the octave. Not a big deal, right? Middle part, you're just coming down a whole step from the high part, right? So here we go. This is measure 9. Ready and. Good. Let's do it without the piano. And Allison, would you just help them this time only? At right on measure 11. Ready and. Yeah, because that comes in on beat 2. Hmm?
Yeah, it's on beat 2.
Yeah. Yeah. One more time. And all right. Now listen without singing, but thinking what you just did. Listen to what the piano is doing while you're doing that. It's not that related. Okay? Let's just listen. Why don't you play at 10? Were you able to sort of hear that note in your head a little bit as you were hearing that? All right. All right. Let's see. Let's try it again starting from measure 9. This time singing it. Do it for right now. Just do everything that mezzo forte. We'll adjust later, but. Great, so then the second one is a little bit different, but not too different. Same thing for the highs, you hear your C sharp right before you sing it. Same thing for the middles, you're just coming a whole step down from the high part. The one that's different is for the for the low part, you are not singing the octave down. So just play. Would you just play the C sharp to the B, to the, right? Okay. Let's go back one more time to measure 9 and see if we can do this. Once we get into it, then it's sort of like, oh, okay. But we have to. This is the first choral sound in the piece, so we have to make sure that we can hear that. Here we go. Right at measure 9. Now, of course, we don't actually hold it out that whole time, so sopranos or high part and middle part, you're going to cut off, and it's only the low part that are left with that. All right, let's go on a little bit to measure 15. And 1. This little melody that you have here. Let's just sing that, please, low part. Ready, and there's not a the. I'm hearing somebody singing the stone. Heavy as stone. And heavy as stone. Off and soft as breath. There we go. Good. So that's kind of the counterpart to the soprano melody. Let's go back again to 15. And 1. Still hearing the. This is N. Yeah, I think we can hear just a little bit more on that descending line, middle part. And that's where the N's going to help you if you kind of bring that more to the front of your face. Let's keep going. Right at 23 in it. And 1. That's happening for some reason on those last 3 8 notes. I'm not sure what's happening there, but it can be a little more relaxed. I think it's like the texture kind of opens up there. And then on that crescendo in 33, middle part, you're really driving that crescendo because you have the quarter notes in there. So I'd really like to hear a little bit more of that middle part there. All right, let's go right at, for those, pick up to 28. 2, 3. Stop there. And obviously we're still getting notes under our belt. So
Yeah.
do you have any thoughts, tempos, other kinds of things?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe the beginning can be a little slower.
Like on the low part here on,
Yeah,
of mother.
right,
That makes sense to me.
sure, right.
Okay, so everybody Lowe's adding a fermata on the second syllable. Okay, cool.
And if you need to change it to mezzo piano for those ones.
We might,
Yeah,
I think so, that's
okay.
really,
Sure.
especially, I mean, I think they can do that, but these two, that's right in the, like,
Yeah,
in the break
that's
for the
perfectly
voices
fine,
tricky,
yeah.
yeah. This one probably we can do softer, the
Okay,
second one.
yeah, yeah.
So would it be okay with you if we did mezzo
Sure.
piano and then piano?
Yeah. And
Would
then
that work, or do you want them the same,
No,
the same
mezzo
dynamic?
piano and piano, I think
Cool.
that's good. And then the piano would play mezzo piano and measured hands.
Instead of pianissimo.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is why it's great to have the composer, right? We can change stuff. It helps us and probably helps you too, to
Yeah.
like work with the live chorus.
Of
Say,
course.
that doesn't work so well. Alright, and then when we get into this, I'm not sure if my tempo is what you,
Yeah, the
is that the tempo you have in mind?
Yeah.
Cool, alright. It flows so nicely.
Yeah, the middle part in 19 to 22, I wasn't sure is the best
Do you want them to be on
vowel.
ooh?
Yeah, let's try that.
Do you wanna try it?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so middle part,
19.
change your N to your M to an ooh. As long as we make sure that we hear the low part, I think that can work.
Yeah.
And stick
And
it.
that continues to 21 and 22 as well, I
Yes.
assume, yeah. What's your thought about, so the altos here are kind of repeating but on this do do do,
Yeah.
the same tune. Do you see those as being sort of equal, or is one have more prominence?
I think they should be equal. All three parts should be equal there in
Yeah.
23.
Yeah, well these two are singing the same, so it's really,
Yeah.
it's essentially two part, at least
Yeah.
until there, so.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so that means low part, you can sing that, your do-do-dos out just a little
Yeah.
bit more, I
Yeah.
think.
The rest I think is fine. It's just the end. We can do a retard. The last 3 or 2 measures. The very end.
Oh, the very, very end,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I would like that.
So like from here maybe, or do you wanna
Yeah.
start the retard all the way back here?
Maybe
Or just-
here or here.
I'll split the difference. Okay. What's this mean?
Oh, it's like 2 octaves.
Oh,
higher.
2 octaves, okay. Never saw that before. Alright, and a music culture. Alright, let's go back, with those thoughts and ideas, let's go back,
Which measure was the retard?
it's at the very, very end. We jumped all the way to the end of the piece, so the very last page, and it's mainly for Allison.
Okay.
Because you're basically just watching me and coming in on that last mother, you know, tempo is not that much. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to beginning. Maybe not the all the way beginning. Let's go to pick up 6 maybe. I'm sorry.
At the end, like the last few measures, should those be ooh and low or and?
At the very end of the piece. Yeah. Do you wanna change that, or, I mean, there's less going on there, so it doesn't quite get covered up.
Yeah, let's keep the way it
Okay.
is written.
But you're okay with, I'm having them do it instead of
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So should I mark it as double N's instead of MM?
You could, I mean, as a choir director, I mean, I find that a lot of times ends when you close your mouth, it doesn't carry.
Right.
So a lot of choir directors, I'm not the only one who does this, whenever we see that, we do, and it makes
Yeah.
more sound, so.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you could leave it as is. It's up to you, but that's how we're gonna do it. It'll sound like All right. I'm not sure if we'll get all the way to the end, but let's go back to the beginning and work on that section. Let's start, Allison, let's start at pick up to 6 where you have the 16th note. And I'm gonna find that slower tempo, so please. That's too slow. Okay. We'll find it. Right, 2, 3. Yeah, don't jump there, because that's going into a slower tempo, so we're kind of like coming to an end there and then starting anew in the slower tempo. So even though it says the tempo changes on the downbeat, I think we would agree that the pickup has to be in the slower tempo, right? Yeah. All right, so let's go right at 37.
Two mothers unseen whose sons did all
Watch the pitch there.
hold in silence, but others cannot hold. I see you, I honor you, I see you.
This is my favorite part of the whole piece.
I honor you, I see you,
Watch that and jump down. Yeah, so when I was shouting out there, sopranos, careful sopranos at 65, going from the F sharp down to the C, that's really, really in the crack. So that's one to just kind of like play a couple times, and in sectional, definitely one to work on. All right, I leave a little bit of time before we take our break, so to give you, we've kind of talked, and you talked. So let's open it up if you all have any questions for Limbo, either about the piece or anything else. No personal questions. Anyone have any questions or thoughts or things that you want to share? Janice, and then
Just wasn't sure. She did a beautiful job in sort of shaping the part that we did, but then we just did the part that we have. Is there anything else you want to add to the second part? Change.
No, I'm happy with it.
Must be amazing to actually hear it. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was thinking from measure 39 it could be slower, just like the beginning, even slower.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is sort of, I have to write down this word for you. This was sort of rest.
We all love that section. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any you had a question or
Oh, yeah,
a
this
comment?
is more of a general question. I'm just, it's so beautiful and such a treat to get to be. And I was just curious, like, do you have a typical process where you start with a melody in your mind and then start to put words to it, or vice versa, or both, or just curious?
For vocal music, it's always I find a text first, and then I set the text. And then for instrumental music, a melody would come first, and sometimes chords or harmonies first. Yeah.
Do you have? I'm going to jump in with a question of my own. I know that you've written quite a lot of vocal music and instrumental music. Do you have a favorite?
Yes, I haven't written a lot of choral music though.
Oh, okay.
I have some art songs. I wrote a short opera scene. So I really enjoy writing for voice. And I think I'm really looking forward to exploring more about choral music. I play for the chorus at NEC
Oh,
as a
okay.
pianist, so I hear a lot of choral music. This is my second choral piece.
Wow.
I've only had one before.
Yeah.
Oh, Ash, Thompson.
Ellie kind of stole my question. Well, I have two questions. Ellie's kind of stole one of them, so I'll kind of change it. Is there any sort of ensemble that you'd like to write for at some point that you haven't like done before, or could be a weird one.
Maybe a brass ensemble.
Oh, okay.
I play horn, I would recommend.
Brass instruments are the least familiar, so I'm really curious about them. So maybe a brass quintet. Yeah.
My other question was, do you do the engraving for your own music, like format it? That comment, this is really well engraved, I can read it really easily.
Yes. I concur with that. As a music publisher, your engraving looks really nice.
I just a comment about the mood and the emotions of the piece. I'm not a mother, but I know a lot of people I know have had, it's been really complicated becoming a mother and or not, and I appreciate it feels like that's held in the piece, so I just want to
Oh, and Maddie, and then Deborah, and then Jean.
I was kind of curious to know, do you also write poetry, or do you only write text for voice, and how does writing for voice influence your writing?
No, I don't write poems. For this, I just think it's hard. I find it easier to look for texts for art songs because they can be in any format. They can be very free. But for choral pieces, I just don't think the poems. It's easy to set the poems that are already written. So I chose for the first choral piece that I wrote. I also wrote my own text,
Oh.
but it's much shorter. So yeah, it's,
Originally, when we were talking, I think you did find a couple of texts that you didn't write, right? And we kind of went back and forth on that, and then
Yeah.
and then I was surprised. I was like, oh, she wrote her own text, which I liked better than the two that you.
Yeah, it's,
So.
the ones didn't really work out. Like I find it more difficult when writing for choir. The length of the poem is really important.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it
true.
can't be very free. It can't be too long. So
Very true.
Yeah, that's why I just.
Those of you who remember that French piece we sang went on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we had Deborah?
Yeah, again, I want to just commend you so much for the poem, because I think to set a beautiful choral piece, you need, or any kind of choral piece, you need to have the perfect poem, that they influence each other kind of equally. And so that you started with this beautiful poem that you wrote, and then this is my favorite piece that we're doing. And, it's my first year with the choir, so and I love the lines, the melodies are so gorgeous, and how they come in, how they arise from each other is very beautiful.
Thanks.
It's really beautiful.
You guys sounded amazing. I'm really.
And I think let's
It will
wrap up
sound
with yes, it will sound better. We'll wrap up with Jean and then we'll take our break.
I actually also, I find your words so gorgeous, and I am a mother, and it is not always easy, and I love it, it's not, becoming a mother is not easy, being a mother is not always easy, although it's ultimately joyous, and I love the words about in all its vastness, however it calls me. And I think one of the things that Ellie talked about when we first were coming up with this maternal figures is that it's not about whether you're biologically a mother, but the mothering that you might do. And I feel
Or
like,
receive,
or
right?
receive,
Right.
And I just love the words, and I think it encompasses all that mothering, whether you are biologically or receiving of motherly love or maternal love or whatever. It's just amazing. It's really
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for your great comments. Lingbo, I think, is going to stick around, so if you want to just, chat with her or introduce yourself, feel free. And so we'll take our break and we'll have a nice size break. Let's take about a 15-minute break. That way we'll give you plenty of time to chat. Then we'll come back and we'll work on Adidong and Wanting Memories.